Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I have an amazing DIY recipe for you, and I'm going to show you the recipe for a really potent Ayurvedic or herbal hair growth oil that I've been using for a while and I'm absolutely loving. So this oil can help to promote hair growth, and it can also help to strengthen the hair follicles, so reduce shedding, and it also helps to strengthen the hair strands itself and therefore reduce the breakage. And it's also really good for scalp issues because it can help to treat dandruff. It's got anti-inflammatory properties, and it can also help hair to grow back in bald patches. So the first ingredient is henna, which is a really amazing herb. Not only can it help to strengthen the hair follicles and therefore reduce abnormal hair shedding, but it can also help to strengthen the hair strands themselves, and therefore it can help prevent breakage and help with length retention. It also helps to prevent split ends, so it's fantastic. It's also good for the scalp because it can help to treat things like dandruff, and it has anti-inflammatory properties. So I know henna is often used as a natural hair dye, but it has amazing properties for the hair and the scalp, and particularly when you're using it in the form of an oil, then you're not really going to get that coloring, and therefore if you are a bit hesitant about using henna mask, then a hair oil is a good idea. The next ingredient is brahmi, which has been regarded as probably the most potent Ayurvedic herb. I know there'll be lots of claims about different herbs, but this is definitely one of those that's really good. So brahmi can help to rejuvenate the hair follicles, and it can also help to strengthen the hair follicles, and therefore can help to promote healthy hair growth. And it also helps to sort of condition the hair so that it's nice and soft. And then the next herb is Regrow, which has been shown to be one of the most potent herbs when it comes to stimulate hair growth in bald patches. So it promotes hair regrowth. So not only will it stimulate the hair that's already there, but if you've got bald patches, the Regrow can help the hair to grow back in bald patches. So this is a really good alternative for things like fenugreek or rosemary, whichever quite distinctive scents. And if you don't like the smell of fenugreek or rosemary, then Regrow is a good alternative. And then we need a heat-resistant, non-metallic container. So glass is your best bet, and that's because metallic containers can cause the henna to oxidize, and you really don't want that. And then we need a really good penetrating oil. So I'm using grapeseed oil, but you can use things like olive oil, almond oil, jojoba oil, or even fractionated coconut that's not going to solidify. And sunflower oil is also a really, really good alternative. So you want a penetrating oil because you want this hair growth oil to be able to penetrate the scalp and go into the hair follicles, and also to penetrate the hair shaft. So the recipe is very, very simple. So I'm going to be adding a tablespoon of each herb. So I'm going to start off by adding a tablespoon of the henna, and I'm putting it straight into the jar. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of the brahmi, and then I'm going to add a tablespoon of the Regrow. So you'll have noticed that all my powders are already in powder form, and I find that it really helps if you use powders because it makes the hair growth oil a lot more potent. So if your herbs are not already in powder form, then I recommend that you grind them or blend them into powders, because that will really help to make your oil more potent. So in terms of how much of the carrier oil to add to your powders, it really depends on how concentrated you want your hair growth oil to be. So the more carrier oil you add to your powders, the more dilute your hair growth oil will be, and the less carrier oil you add to your powders, the more concentrated and therefore the more potent your hair growth oil will be. So I added about a cupful of the grapeseed oil and then mixed the powders and the oil really well, particularly as these are really fine powders. You want to make sure that you mix them well, because this will help remove any lumps and therefore help with the infusion process. So once I have mixed them well, I close the jar tightly because I don't want any steam or any moisture to get into the oil, because that will just make it go off quickly. And then I'm going to warm everything in this hot bath. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water into the pan and then just simmer it over low to medium heat, and then just warm up the oils for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I take the jar out of the pan off the heat and then allow it to cool down completely. So warming the oils is not mandatory, but I find that it helps to just speed up the process. So you could just mix the oils and the powders and then just put the bottle away, but I like to warm them up. So to get a really potent hair growth oil, you need to infuse this for at least 3 to 4 weeks. 2 weeks is acceptable, but I infused mine for about 4 weeks, and you'll see that yes, it's a bigger amount because I decided I want more oil, and therefore I just doubled up the measurements. The powders will settle at the bottom, so from time to time you do need to shake it up, or open the jar and stir it up with a spoon, because that really helps to infuse the oils much better. So because the powders settle at the bottom, once the fusion has occurred, you don't really need to strain this oil. You can just decant the amount that you need at a time and just leave the rest with the powders in the jar. So this oil is really amazing and it's really versatile. So you can use it as a scalp oil, which is my preferred way to use it. So I just apply it to my scalp and massage. So I use it for my scalp massages and also just as my regular hair growth oil. So just apply it to my scalp, massage, and then leave it in until the next wash day. So I don't wash it out, but you could use it as a hot oil treatment as well. That it works in that way as well. And if you wanted, you could also add this to your deep conditioners and enrich them, as I showed you in one of my recent videos, which I'll link in the description box below. And also you can add this oil to hair butter, so you can use this oil to make a hair growth butter. So the interesting thing, as you can see, the color is green, so it's not red. Even though we added henna, the resultant color is not going to be red. It's actually going to be this beautiful, rich green color. Absolutely love it. So in terms of storage, because there's no moisture at all in this can be stored in a cupboard for up to a year. It's not going to go bad at all. And the most important thing to do is to make sure that you always close the jar when it's not in use, and you keep it in a dark cupboard. That way you're going to protect the ingredients and therefore it'll last longer. So in terms of how often to use this hair growth oil, if you've got hair growing out of your scalp and you just want to stimulate growth, then you can use it 2 to 3 times a week. However, if you've got bald patches and you want to grow hair back in those bald patches, then I recommend you use it every single day. So I did a video explaining the reasons why, and I'll put a link to that video in the description box below, and I really recommend that you watch that video. I'll be back with another video real soon, but before I go, thank you to everybody who subscribed so far. I really appreciate your love and support. If you're watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, then please do subscribe, and also please give the video a thumbs up, and also sign up for notifications so that you never miss any of my videos. So until next time, my lovelies, you take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and God bless. Bye for now.